Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Make Your Beauty Right podcast is a daily, unfiltered, no-holds-barrier look into the world of personal branding, beauty, leadership, and life as a creative entrepreneur. I'm your host, Lena Nicole, image and personal branding strategist. And my goal is to give you life to the worries that all of us face day after day, struggling to fulfill our purpose and to create a glamorous legacy. In this Laugh Out Loud podcast, me and my guests will be discussing the best ways to make up your mind, monetize that brand, glam up your image like a boss, and how you can stay motivated in a world full of distractions. Your unfiltered beauty experience starts now. You are now listening to Make Your Beauty Mark podcast. Hey guys, what's going on? Lena Nicole here. Listen, happy Thriving Thursday, no matter where you're at, whatever you're doing. I hope you're being fabulous. Slam on these internet streets. Listen, I have to come back here. You a podcast in a whole different way. Listen, whenever you leave, when you show back up in somebody's life, I feel like this is my personal opinion. I feel like whenever you leave and you show back up in someone's life or in someone's door, if you come in to visit, you want to see them around. You want to show up better than you left them. You want to come back bearing gifts, showing up different, being different. And of course, if you're out here being a content creator, especially an influencer, especially someone who's trying to be a thought leader, you want to be somebody who's always delivering value. You always are sitting here making sure that your content is having the best, your audience is getting the best. And if you're interviewing, very soon, you want to make sure you're serving it up to your audience, that they're laughing, they're entertained, and they're here to have a good time. Maybe not for a long time, and even if they are here for a long time, most importantly, they're here for a good time. Listen, this podcast won't be long, and like I said, I just wanted to come up here and jump up here before next week we jump off, especially depending on how you're watching this right now. You should be watching this. You should be from either Facebook page, the Lena Nicole Network, or if you're joining us on YouTube or the Lena Nicole Network. Listen, this is a long time coming. We have been over here tinkering and playing around and really trying to figure out how we wanted to deliver the content, how we wanted to serve you. And most importantly, I feel like that's the big thing, especially in today's time and age when people are doing stuff. You should focus on how you want to show up and how you want to serve your audience. But if you are new here, you don't know who I am, you've never been here, guys, what's up? My name is Lena Nicole, personal branding strategist, creative director, your girlfriend in all things personal branding and showing up authentically, whether you are looking to make influence online, whether you're like, yo, I'm a regular person, especially with this network. One of the things I wanted to do when I grew up, I can't say when I grew up because we're always growing up, right? But growing up or being a little kid and knowing that you have dreams and you have goals, you know what I mean? You dream about something when you grow up. Mine was to always be a talk show host, but as I watched people and as I saw people like Oprah, I was like, well, maybe I'm thinking too small. Maybe I need a dream for something a little bigger, like a whole network. And then when I thought about the network, I had to start thinking, hey, what did I want that to look like? How do I want to give value to my audience? Did I want to do my own shows? Did I want, you know what I mean? What did that look like? And for me, my biggest thing was kind of trying to figure out where I fit in the greater scheme of things. I'm just being honest. It was, where do I fit in? How do I stand out? How do I show up and be this person? What about if I'm not like this or like this and I'm just me? How does that work for me? And getting down to that conversation, the podcast you're listening to today is called Slay It Up, Owning Who You Are. And the conversation kind of wraps around this. What about, like I said, if you're not the girly person, if you're not the main character, then how do you show up? If you watch plays or movies or you've been to theater or to acting, you know, like if you did cast for the main cast, you can be supporting cast. You could be the director. You could be writing the content. It's so many roles to play, just like it is so many roles to play in life. Like a film, like a movie, we all have different roles we can play, should play, and we do play around with. But on this podcast, I want you to learn so much about building a personal brand, but on this network, more importantly, I want you to Maybe if you're figuring out what your beauty is, maybe you're figuring out, hey, I don't know what my style is. I'm not sure how I really want to show up. Even when it comes down to your career. Because I think when people hear personal branding, you think it's just, when I'm showing up on social media. Social media is a small piece. How are you showing up in the world? How are you showing up in the world, right? How are you showing up in the world? Past how you're showing up in the world. If you're looking for jobs, you're looking for new careers, you're looking for new opportunities, the first thing is going to go to your personal brand. Who are you as a person? How do you want to show up? How do you want people to remember you? And it might take, I just call it making your beauty mark. You're here for a good time, maybe not a long time, right? Because you have a short time on this earth. But while you're here, are you making it impactful? Who are you connecting with? And on this podcast, I wanted it to be unedited. I wanted it to be unfiltered. So when you're joining and you're up here, you have questions, or if you want me to use your personal brand, then we actually can sit here and get into conversations about it, because that's what I love to do. That gets me going. Remember the whole thing was like, I want to do what gets the people going. That's what gets me going. There's something for you that gets you going, even if it's organizing your house, even if it's painting, even if it's drawing, singing, dancing, crocheting, whatever it may be. You want to get into, if you are looking to make a career, if you are, looking to making it like a thing where people know who you are, what does that look like for you? How can we literally really build you a personal brand around doing the stuff that you love? And remember, our personal brand is just who you are. So basically what we're saying, how can we build you a life, or you make your career, right? You're making your own career. How can you do that with what you have going on? Who do you want to be, and where do you want to get to work for you? And in this podcast, I wanted to talk about, what about if you're not, like I said before, the good girl, the sweet, nice, all of those types of things. What about if you're not that? How does that work for you? And so the whole thought process was, what about if you're the villain? I don't know if you guys, if you ever, have taken a brand audit before or done those things before, but you can go to Google or ChatGPT and you can look up brand archetype, and you can go down the rabbit hole and take the quiz. Now, while this is really great if you are a company or building a company, this can also work for you, because remember, as a personal brand, you are the company. You are the walking, talking embodiment of the company, right? So when you're using those assessments, you can use those things, like if it's coming back saying you're a creator. What does that look like for you? Are you a music creator, or art creator? Are you a multimedia creator, right? Those things take on different things. What about if you are, it says caretaker? You could be a girl next door. You could be a lover. There's so many things. But taking brand assessments like that helps you identify how you can tap into your personality, right? Because that's what your personality is. How can you tap into your personality? Because that's what you're using to sell people. That's what you're using to attract people. So your tone, how you laugh, how you see the world, other people may see it like you, or you guys can share perspectives or stories. You feel me? And that's what forms your connection and community with people. Also saying that to say, in this podcast, I was saying, what about if you're none of those things? And even if you are one of those things, what about if you feel more of like a villain? You always feel like you're like the bad guy, or even if you don't play into feeling like the bad guy, what about if you play into the villain character as you taking that piece to be bold about how you show up on social media? So remember the whole thing back before, it used to be the good girl gone bad. Someone in a personal brand, if I had to use it for example, was Rihanna, right? Remember how when she first started off, it was like the river of the sun, and it was like really bright, really colorful. And then she started working with Jay-Z as she got a little older, even though she was already signed with him, because you can be signed to someone with it. Y'all know how y'all can sit there and work at a company, don't mean y'all know the same thing. Y'all know what I'm saying. Then Jay-Z started really working with her because he did the song with her. That's what I mean, working together. They did the song together. So they did the song together. Remember Umbrella, and she had cut her hair. It was black, it was darker, right? And whenever you think about dark, rich colors, it always gives sensuality, always gives mystery, mystique. It plays into that. And her doing that, we all was like, oh, Rihanna, what happened? You were so good, you went bad. What happened? Did you hear the key word? What happened? Villains always have a story. So whenever you're showing up with a little mystique to you, whenever you are showing up saying something controversial, have you ever noticed people always want to know why? Why did you say that? Why did you say it that way? How did you say it? And then they go back and talk to people. And those people talk to people. And before you look it up, because it happened in your family, it happened in your girlfriend circle, it has happened to you in life, you look up and somebody said you said something that you didn't say. However, past that stuff, the point is they're talking about you. And when you think about yourself as a personal brand or building your career or putting yourself out here, even in the dating pool, even if you're saying, hey, I want to be a socialite and I want to be social on the scene, social. People got to talk about you, social interaction. And earlier today, I was working with Ariel, and like it's a part where it talks about your feelings and your emotions, right? How do you feel? Are you having a good day or a bad day? And it was so interesting. I had to keep explaining like your day, how do you feel, all of these things. And it made me start to think, when you're up here as a service-based provider and you're a personal brand, you can't assume everybody's going to understand what you're saying. You can't assume just because you do it one time, people are going to get it. You can't. Even if you jump on social media and you say something controversial, you still have to have something else to back it up. And that's why I'm saying, using the energy of the villain, they always have something planned. Have you ever noticed as soon as Batman thinks he has the Joker, I'm just saying in the point of strategy, that he always gets away or something happens where you think you know what the Joker's going to do, but he's always completely unhinged. How can you look at your marketing, your social media tactic, who you hang around, where you're going, your news circle the same way? Because the same way I was bringing up kids, how you have to educate kids every day is a different way. You always have to surprise them or do something different or out of the box to keep them still long enough to give them what they have to say. So how can you use everything around you holistically to really, really pull your audience in? Have you ever looked at somebody through the screen? I'm going to use Ari Lennox, for example. And you was like, God damn, she looks like she smells good and she just tastes good and just, Lord, she's right. She looks so appealing and so attractive that you think through the screen and you can smell her or you want to smell her. How can you talk about your brands, build a brand world, right? Because every villain has a place they live. Think about it this way. If you're hearing people talk about right now being the main character and rediscovering your identity or building a new identity, let's play into that whole thing. Have you ever noticed those questions? Even if you go to a life coach, they're always asking, where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? When you go to PR, they ask you the same kind of question in business, because all of these things need different types of resources. So now that you're trying to stand out, be different, go somewhere different, how you used to show up before may not work for you at the same time. You know the same way it's working for you now. I remember I used to jump on Facebook, instantly can make a sale, instantly can meet people. But it's not working that way because times have changed. And one thing villains do the best, I feel like more than anybody else, they're always down to reinvent themselves and do something different. I remember when I first came in and said, hey, when you show up and you haven't been there in a while, how do you show back up? Are you showing up the same? Because if you want to get different attention to get different results, you're going to have to show up and be somebody different. So that's why I said, why not use the villain energy? They're always strategizing. So as soon as they make a move today, he really thought out 5 moves ahead of time. So think about it. If you're a mom with kids, you know you got to get up at a certain time in the morning to plan your whole day. It is the same way with building content, showing up online, building a personal brand or a community or getting a relationship. These things may take time, but you thinking about where you want to be at is a key thing. So listen, I hope you're enjoying this really quick podcast. I just wanted to do a pop-up podcast to say, listen, I'm so excited to be back. You can join me every single day, whether you catch me live or pre-recorded. You can always probably catch me live in the streets though. So I hope these podcasts, whether they're visual, and a lot of times you probably won't see me up here, but I want these podcasts to be really, really encouraging in how you sit here and you show up on social media, how you sit here on social media, you show up on social media, how you really deliver your content, how you really want to go out here and change your life and really make it better, I feel like, for everybody around you. So this podcast, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to make my mark by helping you make yours. In my particular case, no, I'm not the villain, even though I tap into that energy a lot because it's completely fun and it's unhinged. It is so fun to sit here and show up and authentically be yourself. So even if you're saying, hey, I'm not the bad guy, I don't want to go that bad, even doing something like I'm doing about wearing shades, creates a sense of, what's really happening? Is something wrong with her face? Is something wrong with it? Does something happen? Or does it create a little bit of allure? Also, if you're thinking about, because I also focus on artist development a lot, right? Because I think a lot of times when people are thinking about personal brands, you just jump out here and think it's automatically going to work. And sometimes it may take time. So saying that to say, I think about artist development a lot. And in that, a lot of times, sometimes people don't feel comfortable looking directly into the camera. Doing stuff like wearing glasses or shades, hats, or cover-ups also can help take nervousness away. Now, in my case, I use it a little bit for both. Sometimes, no matter how much I'm in front of the camera, looking someone dead in the eye, or just looking at the camera, just like I'm looking at the camera looking at me, it's the thing, I'm the thing, it can sometimes feel crazy. So sometimes, because I have a light on and all of the stuff, it really helps. Also, too, I love the reflection of how it looks in the mirror. But past that, also, it can kind of be a sense to kind of guard yourself, to not feel so personal or so vulnerable. At least I do that when I'm out in the street. So sometimes when I'm out and I'm talking to people, I love people, but my eye contact is very intense. And I have also, because you have to learn how to read the room as a personal brand, notice that can be alarming for other people. So I like to play with it. Sometimes you'll see me in glasses and sometimes you won't. But as my personal brand goes, I absolutely love shades. If I can live in them, wearing them, I would. I think they're so dope. I just think shades are so much personality, and I love, like, just different accents and personality to your style. On top of that, what else did I want to say to y'all? I just feel like I'm trying to say so much because you already heard Ariel in the background, and I'm like, oh my god, what is she doing? What is she doing? But listen, I want to thank you for watching this. More importantly, thank you for listening, because this is still a podcast, and I'm doing a part of it visually. You can check it out on YouTube. So thank you for being here. Be sure to follow me on TikTok and social media. I'm trying to get my TikTok up so I can go live and talk to you guys, especially with new projects that I have coming out, where I want to show you products and different things in beauty that you should definitely be tapped into that's coming on the market. So thank you for being here. Be sure to check me out on TikTok, because we're going to get more into the villain talk, especially by the end of this month, going into September, going into Q4, where this is a time to make the money. This is the time to be out here. So why not, embody that energy now? So listen, go out here, slay fabulous, make it your mind, make it your life. And if you are going out here to make your beauty mark, go out here, put it down, brush it on, leave a legacy for not just yourself, but for your family, your children, and tons of other people around the world that you may never ever touch or know. But know that if you have a reason, if you have an idea to do something, there's a reason behind it, and there is a place for you in the market, just for you. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to go out here, make your beauty mark, and brush it on. Go. Bye. Bye. Bye.